Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review The Outlaws, which is a new Netflix original film from Happy Madison Productions. Well, that should tell you a lot, and this is from director Tyler Spindle. Comedy that was The Wrong Missy, which was another, I'm pretty sure that was a Netflix comedy. It was, and hated that one a lot. Thought it was extremely unfunny. And unfortunately, so's this movie. This film focuses on a straight-laced bank manager, played by Adam Devine, who's about to marry the love of his life, but it turns out her parents finally show up after years of never being around, and they turn out to be bank robbers, and they get him involved in a web of danger and criminals, and you see, this is supposed to be an action comedy, right? And it has a premise that just screams action comedy. It really lacks on the action. There's not a whole lot of action in it, and when they do, it's very uninteresting and played out, and they don't really do much with it. It's just point and shoot guns at people and then shoot with this very bland cinematic look to it. This film looks very bland. It feels like we're watching a high-gloss TV show, and you have the rest of this film, which, Adam Devine's our main character. Adam Devine is really funny. I really love him in The Righteous Gemstones and Workaholics. This film leans so heavily on him screaming like a little baby. Kevin Hart does that, Adam Devine does that. They do it so much in this, it's just not funny. You could do it once, maybe twice, and get a laugh. But when you're doing it 5, 6, 7 times, or it feels like 100 times, it feels really grating. And Adam Devine's character, the whole entire thing, he's not manly enough for, this hardened pair of criminals who are going to be his in-laws. And the running joke of him being not masculine enough or not being enough of a man, or them making jokes at the expense of hey look, a guy kissed a guy on the cheek. All of these jokes feel so obnoxiously tired and worn out, and yeah, they were big in the 90s. It's 2023, and there's no original jokes or gags in this film that really feel fresh and funny. You have Nina Dobrev, who plays Parker, his future wife, really underutilized. I'll have to say Ellen Barkin and Pierce Brosnan are really cool and suave as these future in-laws. But, they're even just they feel like they're just putting in the bare minimum to have a fun time for themselves in this film. You have a lot of wasted talent, like Porna Janganathan, who played in Game of Thrones and Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Kenobi show, and she's the main antagonist, and basically she just gets to, there's no depth to her at all, and Michael Rooker pops up as this agent who's investigating them, and he doesn't really get much to do either. And Lauren Lapkus, who is in The Wrong Missy, she is so obnoxious in this movie, in the scene or two that she's in. But one person who I do think, Lil Rel Howery's a lot of fun. Even Blake Anderson's grating in this movie. The main supporting actor that is legitimately funny the whole entire time is Richard Kind, and that's because he's a national treasure. And he leans into his aloof, Jewish humor that he's doing, and it works. This film, though, the story feels so contrived, and nothing feels fresh or interesting in the whole, I know they're bank robbers, but nobody believes me. And then it shifts into just bank robberies and stuff like that that feel so uninteresting. And it's just one of those kinds of things where it's just nothing feels fresh or interesting about this movie. And most of the cast is extremely underutilized, and there's just no life, energy, or personality to the direction. And this just feels like a bland conveyor belt film from Netflix that really isn't that funny, and it doesn't really deliver that interesting of action. So as an action comedy, it falls flat. And in the end, this is pretty big misfire, and I had slight hope because of Divine and Pierce Brosnan and Ellen Barkin, but it didn't really deliver. But those are my thoughts on The Outlaws. Let me know what you think and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.